It has gone in understanding all that, like what we do to see if a business is feasible. All that effort, if it is to be the money spent, there's an effort gone in. If we need to ensure that we don't, whatever product we release, it doesn't get copied. We need to have the protection part. That's one aspect. But the other equally important aspect is with regard to seeing that when we are doing a new development, we are not infringing anybody else's IP right. So others' IP rights has to be respected. That means it's not just in the technology area as such. We would rather come down or focus to what are we developing, what is the feature that we are developing, and look into the prior art. One part is the patent prior arts or patents what are being filed. This information is available. Most patent office would publish this. Most patent office would have this thing available online, so that one and there are like tools, free tools or government provided tools which help one search within the patent office, and many of these tools also extend to other jurisdictions of the world. So if I have to search, okay, what are the patents that are being filed which talk about the feature that I'm interested in developing, that can be done, and we could get this thing. Okay, these are the patents that are here in India. These are the patents that are filed for this in US, that is filed in EP. So this is very important to understand, from keeping in mind the market where we are interested in releasing the product. Do a prior art search, focused prior art search. Of course, one caution, we are not necessarily disclosing as okay what we are going to develop, but the search is done to understand what exists here, what is the state of the art, what has been developed before, where IP rights may still be active, where once that is known, of course there's a call to be taken as what should we do now. Should we license in the thing because somebody else has an IP? Should we license in? Or if it is done very early in the product phase, which is advisable, the question comes is, how should I make my new development different from what exists or what belongs or what has been claimed as IP rights of somebody else? So there's an important question that comes in. Should I make this thing, or should I just buy this thing? Make or buy. So it's the earlier we could have this decision, it's like it's good, because the energy, the R&D team's energy is then like focused towards what could produce value or what could produce IP for the company, or protect or go as per whatever is the business plan for that product. So it's an important thing of understanding what exists out there. This to be done for every new development that one is undertaking. Look for the features that you are making or you are planning to develop. Also look for if there are basic patents that exist. See, if I had to give example, prior art wise, when a diode was made, for a diode when it was first time made, so we may think of, okay, there's a diode which is made. Of course, that was a vacuum tube diode that was made. What could be a prior art there? But if you look from that, of course, this I'm quoting from, or this I'm saying from what I've read. There's the prior art for a diode was an electric bulb. So, but diode could be released as, or there could be the diode product was released in market fortunately, because a patent on electric bulb got, the 20 years term, what was there for that had ended, and it was not blocking the release of vacuum diode. But when triode was made, that was not the case, because this vacuum diode was a prior art which was blocking this. So we may say, okay, I am developing a feature, or I am developing an amplifier. What is this amplifier has to do, or the element of this amplifier, which is this triode, has to do with, or what could be a prior art there? If we start paying attention, then we would start seeing, okay, you are interested in developing an amplifier, but for amplifier, this element triode, which you are using, there exists a prior art, which is a diode. So a diode becomes a basic. It's not a feature that you are developing. You are interested in developing an amplification feature, but you have to pay attention to, are there some basic patents that exist which could also potentially block you. So these are important aspects which one must take care, both protection angle as well as making sure that by the process of developing or releasing the product in market, we don't end up having liability because we infringe somebody else's IP right. So the onus is on the person developing. So pay attention to prior art that exists. The prior arts or patent prior arts, there are a lot of tools available which can help in easy search and provide this information. One could search this and read about what exists and make sure that their development is free from any potential IP infringement.
Thank you, sir. Would you like to add something, Mr. Moti?
Yeah. I would like to add few points, and these are my personal views, which may not necessarily represent Intel's views. Okay. Look at the mindset of an inventor. When he comes up with an invention, he already has something to start from, right? To start with. And let us call the starting point as A. He looks into the starting point A. He finds some disadvantages, and to solve those disadvantages, he comes up with an invention. And once he comes up with an invention, he wants to get patent protection for it. I'm limiting my discussion to patents. When this happens, right? When this happens, what does the law expect you to, as an inventor, what does the law expect you to disclose? As an inventor, you are expected to disclose, or you have an obligation to disclose, what is material to the patentability of your invention. So what is material to the patentability of your invention is your starting point A, right? Once you disclose A, your duty to disclose is over, right? You don't have to tell the patent office whatever is available and whatever is material to patentability. You don't have to disclose because you don't know it in the first place, right? And you are not obligated to go and do an extensive prior art search. Okay. In my personal view, if I were to be an inventor and if I were to be a startup or a company who wants to get a patent, I would not do a prior art search at all. Because I know my starting point, I would write a patent application and describe my invention in comparison with what I know, that is point A, right? Or the material A. And I would go on from there and I would submit a patent specification or a patent application to the patent office. And I strongly believe that the job of the patent office is to search and see whether my invention is novel, whether it has a use, and whether it is non-obvious. It's the job of the patent office. I don't want to duplicate it at my end. So that is my take on it. That is the first point. So I will not do prior art search at all. I know the starting point, and from there I would go see what my invention is and focus on differentiating my invention as compared to the prior art. So that's another way of looking at it.
Interesting take. Thank you, sir. Anybody would like to ask any questions to our panel? The floor is open.
Somebody uses some of this IPR protected features and make a system, and who is there to police on them to find out whether somebody has violated this or not? And when is it going to happen?
Okay, I write to protect my invention and see that nobody uses my invention, and if somebody uses it unauthorizedly, it is my responsibility to see that I stop that. Okay, so the responsibility lies with the patentee. Draw a parallel with your physical property. You have a home, right? And if somebody intrudes into your home, it is your primary responsibility to see that you stop it. From whatever means, you could use police, you could use your neighbors, you could do it on your own, but the primary responsibility of protecting your patent rights rests with the patentee, right? And when the timing, I file a patent here on day 1, let's say Jan 1st 2015, this patent application will be kept as a trade secret with the patent office. They would not publish it for 18 months, right? At the end of the 18th month, they would publish the patent application. Publication is not equal to grant. Patent office is just saying that, okay, I have received a patent application and this is how the patent application looks like. I have not examined it. I have not granted it yet. Okay. After 18 months, they will take it up for examination and the patent is granted. Assume that the patent is granted. So you can exercise your rights once the patent is granted. The question that you may ask is, if somebody copies my invention, infringes my invention before the patent is granted, what is the remedy available to me, right? Before, I mean, there are 2 time periods that you need to look at: the date of filing and the date of publication. And between date of publication and date of grant, these are the 2 time windows. You don't have a remedy available under law. Ravi, please correct me if I'm wrong. You don't have a remedy under law if there is an infringement that happens between 0 and 18 months. But after 18 months to the grant of the patent, during this period, you may not exercise your rights because you don't have a right in the first place. But after getting a patent, you can go back and look at the book of accounts, all those things from 18th month onwards. That is available under law. Is it correct?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, one additional option could be that even if your rights are pending and you've not got the patent granted, but you have
Necessary, right? I'm not even sure whether the patent would be granted to me or not. So,
How much is the value, supposing somebody has done that, how much value we should
it's a purely technical and legal question, but at a very, very high level, my thought would be this. If I have a product, let's say smartphone, and you have 2 patents which are reading on that product, definitely it does not make sense for you to ask the profit that was made on selling the entire smartphone. So it has to be apportioned and see what is the profit or what is the value that your patent added to your system, and based on that, damages should be calculated. It is not a straightforward question. I mean, courts do spend a lot of time on calculating damages. It is not a straightforward question. Probably you have to get into a litigation to understand the dynamics of royalty calculation.
You paid 400 million.
What? I'm sorry?
Like why you paid 400 million.
Yeah, I mean 400 million, what I'm saying is this.
Settlement.
Yeah, as a settlement, that's out of court settlement, but it was not decided by the court. But decision of the court is most of the times it is a well reasoned and thought out decision. So yeah.